the opening invocations. Because we're chanting a long chant this week, I didn't write them on the board. So just sit, listen, or if you know them, chant them away. And we'll get started. Hope everybody had a good start to their week.
Ishvara Om Sahana Bhavantu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahadevam Karavadahai Tejasvi Anavitamastu Mahavir Vishabhai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Those come from one of my teachers. I think you all probably know this, but for the folks at home, we're doing an opening invocation to Shiva, the Lord of Yoga. It's a traditional Anusara invocation. We also do the Guru mantra that invokes the Trinamurti, the Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and reminds us that the Guru also exists within. And then we ask that as we occupy the seat of student and teacher, that we are here and we agree, and it is, sacred space. So, with great respect and great love, I welcome you with all my heart. This week we are talking about Ishvara Pranidhana. So, we've made it to the end of the yamas and niyamas. But I'm going to back up because I think I will go on record in my opinion that Ishvara Pranidhana is the only of the yamas and niyamas that you could do alone, in my opinion. I will justify that momentarily. And it is, in my opinion, the most important. I will qualify all of that. So, going back to the yamas and niyamas. The yamas are the constraints, the things that we stop doing because they are the social contract for ourselves in yoga. We agree to not harm. We agree to not lie. We agree to not steal. We agree to be mindful with the expenditure of our sacred energy. We agree to not grasp or thirst in the ways that we live in this life. And that's basically the social contract that we set forward when we agree to take on a spiritual path. Every spiritual tradition has some similar mechanism in this way, right? You have the 10 commandments. If you come from a Abrahamic religion base, you could have rules and structure around a lot of other religions. And the point is, there are some boundaries, I think, that we need in order to, one, I think, feel safe as practitioners, right? If we sit here and agree that we're not going to harm, there's also kind of an implicit piece as well that, like, as a teacher, somebody who's been through this process is not going to harm you. That's a huge ask that I think we all should honor. But it's also the idea that without a structure or frame, you can't begin. So I wrote this metaphor for the teachers because every week I write up like a breakdown for the teachers here at Practice India on how the different topics resonate for me. And I brought up the idea that the yamas and niyamas are a structure that you can liken to a great work of art, right? The yamas themselves are the canvas, right? What shape is the canvas? How big is the canvas? Like, what's it made of? Is it new? Is it old? Did you recycle it? That's the framework on which we're going to work on something. Those are the boundary boxes. And so we come at this saying, okay, we're agreeing to this contract and we are going to do spiritual work. Then you have, in my opinion, the niyamas split into two parts. The first is what I always teach as the embodiment of the yamas. So like once you've agreed to the yamas, you're like, okay, how do I actually do this? Like I've made the agreement, but how do these show up in my life? And that's saucha, purity or cleanliness, and that's santosha, contentment. And the way I always teach saucha is like, it is like take a shower, right? Like take an actual shower. But it's more like, I've agreed to embark on a spiritual path. I've agreed to the boundary boxes that I'm going to play within, and now I'm going to clear away everything that is not in alignment, right? I'm going to purify the space I exist. I'm going to purify the body that I exist in, right? Like literally taking a shower. But also I'm going to remove anything that's in the way. The things that are overly consumption-based or things that are not in alignment with non-harming or non-stealing or truthfulness, I'm going to get those out of the way. So it's like taking your canvas and you bought it and you realize there's some dust on it and you're cleaning it off, right? You're priming it because you know paint can't stick to a dirty canvas. It's like fact. Like if you've ever tried to paint anything, a wall, if it's dirty, it is not staying. And then contentment, I liken to that first layer of actual primer. Like, you know, an artist when they're painting a big work will always like prime the canvas so that the surface is smooth, they'll sand it down. That's you saying, I've agreed to this space, I've purified it, and I am going to live in the space that I'm creating. It's like you're digging in and you're saying, I'm content with this existence and choice, and I'm gonna live this. And like, a lot of people translate santosha to just be like generalized contentment. I think it is that, but I also think it's conscious contentment. I'm going to choose this. I am content in the choices I made. I feel at peace with the choice to be on this path and to do this work and to grow fundamentally no matter what. And then we come to the last three of the niyamas. And those, according to Patanjali, are the pieces of Kriya Yoga. And Kriya Yoga is the idea that we're moving from karmic action, frictioned action, action that creates struggle or strife or resistance, right? Not good or bad, evil or right, wrong. None of that's the consideration. It's the friction of the karma that we're trying to avoid. And we want to move into flow state. We want to be able to glide through life. Not that life will not have up and downs, it will, but it's that we can smoothly sail over it. So Patanjali tells us, in order to actually live a Kriya life, like a life in Kriya, you have to do these three things. And for me, it's tapas, svadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhana, where yoga actually occurs. That's the action of starting to put paint to canvas and making choices about color, light, form, perspective, all of these things that actually craft the masterpiece of your own life, the art that you're creating. That is happening in tapas, svadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhana. Tapas is the work, right? It's the sweat equity. It's like, I'm literally putting paint on canvas, I'm literally doing the yoga, I'm building the heat, I'm burning off everything I don't need. That's your tapas. And, you know, your svadhyaya is a great artist puts themselves in it. The self becomes, you put your perspective, you put your view, you put your heart into the work you create. That's svadhyaya. Everybody says that svadhyaya is like self-study. It's just kind of a bad translation. It's just this choice of studying on your, like taking initiative and studying of yourself. And in really traditional senses, it's the recitation of long form text where you start to embody the text themselves. You really start to live the things you're embracing. Like we're gonna chant a longer chant today. You would chant a chant until it was in your bones, right? One of the practices I've currently been working on this entire year since Shivratri was the recitation of a mantra equivalent to 100,000 recitations for each syllable in the mantra. Huge, it's a large undertaking, it takes time. Like, especially if you have a job. Like if I could just chill and chant all day, I probably could have knocked it out really quick, but I did not have this on my life. So you chant something, you perform japa, you sing bhajans, you recite long form texts like the Rudram, or even texts like people will chant and sing the Bhagavad Gita, or the Hanuman Chalisa. That's another one that folks that I practice with chant a lot. And the point is, You chant it until it becomes you. And your embodiment of it and your chanting of it is the art also. You're creating art, you're creating beauty, you're adding your own flavor to something ancient and precious. So that gets us to the point that we've created this beautiful thing. We've done our work as yogis. Like, we've made art of our lives. That is yoga, right? You are elevating your life. You're making different choices. But I argue that it's not actually art at this point. It's a beautiful painting, and that's great. You did the work. You literally like put your soul into it, and that's awesome. What makes something art is being seen, is being viewed, is being, to some level, critiqued, gently, hopefully, ideally, right? Like, it's a gentle critique, but it's the act of seeing that actually makes it art. And this is why Ishvara Pranidhana is the only of the yamas and niyamas that if you could get rid of all the others and just do this. Because in Ishvara Pranidhana, you are making the conscious choice to take this beautiful thing you've crafted out of your heart and make it an offering to the thing that you believe is higher than you, that is broader than you, and that is the reason you are here and that you are aspiring to connect to. And I think that's what artists do, right? Like, artists who create music or plays or beautiful paintings or sculpture, I'd love to pretend like we're all creating stuff just to live in a vacuum. There's no way that's true, right? You're putting it out in the world because you're trying to make the world, you're trying to be connected to the world. It's not just that you want the world to see you, you're asking for connection. And that's what Ishvara Pranidhana is. It's the offering of yourself, of the great masterpiece of your life, to spirit, or to love, or to Shiva, or to God. It doesn't matter. I think a lot of people get really hung up on the idea that Ishvara Pranidhana translates to basically honoring the Lord, right? We in the West are like, out, I'm out. Nope, not gonna do it, right? I think that's a mistake. I think there are so many things in this world that are worth honoring, that are worth loving with your whole heart. And it doesn't have to be a dude that's got a beard chilling on a mountain. Like, it doesn't have to be that. It could be love. It could be your children, right? How do you make your life an offering to something that you value and that is your guiding, like, North Star? That's Ishvara Pranidhana. The Bhakti yogis do bypass all of the yamas and niyamas. They're like, we don't need any of these. We're good. We got one job to do, and it's sing to the Lord. That is a valid path also, right? I'm never here to like say one path is better than the other. That's never my game, right? I'm here for you to grow no matter what. Just like I'm here for me to grow. There is something to be said about asking ourselves as we do work as yogis, do we need the other steps because we're afraid of that bigger thing and that bigger connection and of being seen? Or are they actually helpful? In different parts of my life, both things have been true, right? I needed the structure of the framework and the crafting, and honestly, a bunch of tapas, frankly. Like, you just need a bunch of tapas most of the time, right? You just need to burn it all up. But now, as I've become more deeply settled in my own practice, a lot of that for me is extra. That's not to besmirch anyone who's on the path of like traditional, yamas and niyamas, but when I start giving up things and giving up that control or that attachment, and I start saying, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it as bravely as I can, I'm doing it for Shiva, it usually turns out better. It's still human, right? Let's be very clear. Like, it's just like, I was talking yesterday actually after yoga university with Piper, and she's like, I want to learn to play the harmonium. And I was like, yeah, Piper, you literally can play it, just put a drone and just play it. She's like, well, okay, but I need you to help me. And I was like, honestly, girl, the only thing it requires is you just being brave and offering up to spirit and just hoping it's okay. Because there's a line too, in the Gita where Krishna is like, it doesn't matter what you do, just make it an offering to me. You can offer me anything, whatever is in your power to offer me. It could be $1 million, it could be a flower. The point is, what you're doing is whatever you can do, you do it with such love and reverence and conscious choice and presence as an offering to me, and no matter what it is, it's blessed. That's where we need to get. I think in the West, we do a lot of stuff that's just not related to any sort of higher good. I think we just do it because we think we have to, or Instagram told us to, or what have you. I think it's worth taking an inventory in our lives of what am I doing in devotion to the thing that I believe in, consciously. I mean, even if I made a list, it'd be like 2% of my time, probably. Not enough of my time. So, any questions about Ishvara Pranidhana? Thoughts, comments, wishes, hopes, dreams? For those playing at home, although I don't think anybody's actually watching yet, that's fine. Also take some time, inventory what you already are devoting to or not devoting to. We're going to chant though now. This month, for December, we are going to chant the Gayatri. Gayatri is one of the oldest continually chanted mantras in the history of humanity. Like, that's not even an exaggeration, it's literally ancient. It's very, very old. We have obviously receipts on it being in text form, but we know that it was chanted much, much longer before that. And what the Gayatri is, it is the song. This is what I've been told. So if anybody contradicts, please do. But this is what I've been told is the Gayatri. It is the song sung by the goddess to awaken her lover, the sun, to come out for another day. And so it's incredibly devotional because what it's about is like, it's about that love. It's about that devotion. It's about the longing that is part of the idea of Ishvara Pranidhana, right? You also have to want to surrender. You have to do that consciously because humans do not love to surrender. Like, we do not like to give up power. We're not good at that. So this is about that yearning, that desire, that, come back. I'm surrendering to you. Please be here. Please witness this. Traditionally, women did not chant this. Did not. Maybe in some, not even maybe, in some groups still do not. I chant this because I've been given it. And because in my lineage, there were women who chanted it, and they went up in front of literally a council of swamis, and they were like, women shouldn't chant the Gayatri, and one woman was like, I'm gonna chant it, and they were like, ooh, you can't, and then they went in front of all the, like, basically swami council, like swami Supreme Court, and they were like, she can, she's allowed, she can do whatever she wants. And so this is why I chant it. So I only say this in the sense of, like, I am aware that sometimes it could be incongruent with certain groups' beliefs for me to chant it. So for those, I'm doing it respectfully and with love, but I also understand that perhaps for some it's not valid. Other mantras, we usually don't have this. This is not that. So you can sit up nice and tall. We will just chant if you feel called to chant. You have not chanted this before, though, have you? Okay, great. You know it, so you're good. I am going to go through it so you know what to say, right? Because it will be really a bummer because there's only 3 of them. Om, Bur, Bhova Svaha. Okay? Same as yesterday. Tat Savitur Varenyam. These are the Om sounds of and Om. Bhargo Devasya Dimahi. Dyo yo na. This is really hard to read because I've really switched together. It's Prachodayat. Okay, so we can say it again. Om Bur Bhova Svaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dimahi. Dyo yo na Prachodayat. I will say to you, in my experience chanting Gayatri, it comes in real smooth. Like, she appeared, like she opened it. If you don't believe in the power of Sanskrit chanting, I swear this will teach you, because it literally rises like the sun and it appears to you. So if it does, I'm not kidding. I'm literally serious about this. It will come. If it felt strange saying it, when it's chanted with, it comes. It's magic. I can't explain it. Go ahead and refresh your sitting posture. You just sit with the residual energy of the mantra. It's one of my favorites. A big, deep, full belly chest breath in, and big breath out. An accomplished meditator, or just a practiced meditator, I guess I should say, you're welcome to go ahead and start your existing practice. If you'd like to try the practice that I use, you will go ahead and sit up long and tall. Make sure the spine's super long. And I want you to just watch your inhale. Inhale through the nose. And watch as the breath moves all the way down the spine to the base of the spine, the root chakra. And then just exhale fully out. So we're going to start. Inhale deep into the root. Exhale into the heart center. Inhale deep into the heart center. And exhale, watch the breath travel up the spine to the third eye. Inhale the breath into the third eye. Exhale, watch the breath leave the crown of the head. And begin again. Inhale deep into the root of the spine. Exhale, watch the breath travel to the heart center. Inhale into the heart. Exhale, watch the breath move into the third eye center. Inhale deep into the third eye center. And exhale, watch the breath travel up the crown of the head. And begin again. Inhale into the root. Exhale to the heart. Inhale into the heart. Exhale to the third eye. Inhale into the third eye. Exhale out the crown of the head. If you'd like to layer on a mantra, if you've been given one, you're welcome to do that, or you can simply use Om for both parts. And just breathe and meditate for some time. Start to finish up your round of breath along the spine, ensuring that the final exhale does visualize coming out of the crown of the head. And just resume a normal breath pattern. Give yourself a few rounds of joyous breath to just take stock or inventory of the experience that you're having without judgment or critique, just an acknowledgement of what you feel in this moment. And close class today the way I always close class, and it's to ask you to think of one thing today you're grateful for. Be big or small, serious or silly, it doesn't matter, as long as you are soul level grateful for it. And when you know what that thing is, bring your hands together and Anjali Mudra over your heart and hold that thing and your gratitude and love for it in between your palms. I am so grateful for the practice of yoga, and I'm so grateful for each of you coming here today to share your practice with me. Namaste in its simplest form means the light within me sees and humbly bows to the light within you. Dropping the chin towards the chest, bringing the thumbs to the third eye center, and bowing forward to seal your practice. Namaste. Namaste. Great job. Thank you so much for. You literally had it by like the fourth one. It shows.
It rolls on its own.
It's magic. There's a reason. Bye, everyone.